Hello, welcome to Microsoft Excel Intermediate class. I am your host and instructor, Ruben Herrera. And in this lesson, my friends, in this video, we're going to learn three functions that are used for statistics. So therefore, these in Excel are called statistical functions. Functions that we use for statistics. We're going to learn about the functions count, count A, and countif. The count functions, unlike the sum functions in Excel, okay, we use the sum functions for summing the values that are inside of cells, summing, like for example these points right here, but instead of summing all these values right here, we just want to count how many cells we have in here, how many cells with values do we have, okay, or with information do we have. So for this, my friends, we use the count functions. For example, right here on this information that I have right here on this table, I have some students who went sent for training. We have the total of 23 students, and I put that on a reference right here. We're not supposed to know this, but right here we sent some people for training. They went out to training for 2 weeks. At the end of each week, all the trainees, they have to take a test, and they have to pass both of the tests, okay, both of the tests, in order for them to get certified and for them to be able to go back to work. If they flunk one of the tests, or worse yet, they flunk both, they're gonna have to go back and see their manager, okay. No bueno. No bueno. Okay, but now I have some questions right here, some statistics questions. I want to know the number of trainees. How many people do we send out for training? Now remember, we're not supposed to know that we're supposed to send 23 students or 23 trainees. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a count function in here. I can go in here and I guess, count the names in here, or see what's the row number for the last student right here, 26, and then just subtract 1, 2, 3, three rows right here, and that will give me the answer that I'm looking for. But if in the real world, if I was to do this with a real report, with hundreds, if not thousands of people, it will take a lot of work. It'll consume a lot of work doing this manually. So therefore, I'm just gonna go ahead and use the count function. So in order for me to count the number of students, I need to count these cells right here, but I need to find something that all students or all trainees have in common. Okay, so they all have a name and a last name. Okay, very good. Well, they all have a last name. So what I'm going to do, my friends, I'm going to use right here this function right here, count A. Why count A? Well, let me start from here. Let me start from count. Count, my friends, will count the cells, the number of cells that has values from a given or selected range. Okay, count A will count all the cells that have alpha or letters or labels as data inside of those cells. And countif will count the cell if they have a criteria, or if a criteria is met. Okay, so let us go ahead and use right here. We're going to use count A, count alphabet to counting that last names right here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do equals, I'm going to do count A, count A. Very nice. And I'm going to go ahead and select right here. I can select this range in here. Very nice. Okay, or if this was a very long report, I can just go ahead and select the column right here, and that will take care of that. Excellent. I'm going to close my parentheses. I'm going to press enter. Okay, and this is what my function is going to look like. Okay, enter, and I have 24. Wait a minute, 24. Why 24? I was told I'm supposed to send 23 students, so there's something wrong. Oh, I see. Excel is counting counting this label in here. It's not counting this because this data right here actually belongs to cell A1. But this right here, this right here, this column B right here, count A is counting this label right here. It's because this label is also alpha. Okay, so that being said, Excel is smart enough to know what alpha is, but Excel is not smart enough to know that we only want to count the last names, not the labels. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do a little tweak. I can just go back and redo this function and just select this range right here. Or if I want to just keep it this way, I can just do minus 1 right here at the end. I'm going to add a very small operation right here at the end. So it's going to do count B and then it's going to subtract 1. Why 1? Because I wanted to subtract out of this label right here, this header right here on the top. So I'm just going to go ahead and press enter right here. And boom, very nice. Now I have the number of trainees. Very nice. Now next, the number of trainees attending week 1. Okay, so all the trainees that attend the first week of training, what do they all have in common? Okay, well, they all have a score because they took the test. They were allowed to take the test. So what I'm going to do, now I'm going to do that regular, I'm going to use that regular count function, or just the count function by itself. So I'm going to go ahead and right here select count. Oops, I keep misspelling this. Okay, count, and I'm gonna select column C right here. Hey, wait a minute, Ruben, it's gonna count this header right here again. No, it's not, because it's alpha. So count, only count, or count cells that has values as data. Only count the cells that has values as data, and it's going to ignore this label right here because this label is contains alpha data. Hey, wait a minute, Ruben, but it has the number 1 right there. Yes. However, whenever you have numbers on a cell in Excel and it's accompanied by letters, Excel will automatically look at it as alpha. Okay, so very nice. So Excel is going to ignore this. Obviously, it's going to ignore this, and it's just going to count all the cells that have numerical values inside. So I'm going to go ahead and close my parentheses right here on this function. Press enter. Very nice. 21. We sent 23. We hired 23 trainees, but only 21 show up for training for the first week at the last minute. Okay, now next, the number of trainees passing the first week. Okay, so what do we have right here? We need to find out how many students pass the first week of training. So what do all the trainees who pass the first week of training have in common? Where they all have a yes. Some of them have a no. So we do not need to count this. Okay, only we want to count the yeses. So for this, my friends, one can say, oh yeah, we can just do count alpha, count A. Yeah, but count alpha is just going to count everything, because whether it's pass, yes or no, all this is going to be alpha. So what I need to do, I need to use the function countif, because this countif is going to be specific to a certain criteria. So I'm going to go ahead and use the function countif. I'm going to, right here, I'm going to do equals countif. Now, the countif function has 2 arguments. The first one is the range, which is this right here, and then comma for my second argument. What's the criteria? Well, I want to count all the yeses. So I'm going to put my criteria right here inside of double quotations, my friends, because remember, in Excel, every time I want Excel to read or to type something, we need some text, we need to put it inside of double quotations. So I'm gonna go ahead and press enter. Very nice. And we have 19 students who pass the first week of training, and then very nice. So and for the next right here, the next questions right here, you're going to use, again, obviously you're going to use count A, you're going to use count and count if, of course, but I'm already explained those 3. Okay, so thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next lesson. Thank you again for your support, and have a great day.